Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Exit to Excel. This is the podcast where we take career setbacks and stagnation and turn them into layups and outstanding opportunities. My name is LeTonya. They call me LT, and I am an HR consultant, a career strategist, and an AI expert, and your personal guide to thriving through change. Now, if you joined me for the last episode, I talked about the announcement that Amazon made on October the 28th about laying off 14,000 people. And the thing that was very newsworthy about that, besides the number of people that were impacted, it is who was impacted and why they were impacted. 14,000 corporate professionals were laid off. These are middle management people, analysts, coordinators, right? Not the people that we thought were going to be impacted first by AI, people who worked in warehouses, people who worked in the factories. These are corporate jobs that are being eliminated because of AI. And because of the number and because of the group of people that it was, that's what made it so newsworthy. And why I felt the need to have an episode specifically talking about that, because the headline is, while we thought AI was going to eliminate manual labor jobs first, it isn't. What we're seeing is AI eliminating corporate professionals, which is catching all of us in this career space by surprise. So let's be real. Look, AI is everywhere, right? AI is rewriting job descriptions, is changing how companies hire, and is also changing the way we do work. And it is also making a lot of professionals very nervous. But here's the truth: every major technology shift has always created two groups. One group are the displaced, and the other group is the elevated. So the question is, which group are you going to be in this workplace disruption, in this major technology shift? Displaced or elevated? And the question isn't, will AI replace me? The question actually is, am I learning AI to rise above the rest? So, in today's episode, we're talking about how to be AI enhanced and not AI replaced. And I'm going to walk you through my 5-step strategy to help you stay irreplaceable in your field, no matter what AI tool may come next. So, by the end of this episode, you will know exactly how to audit your current job and your risk, how to shift your value proposition, and build a personal brand that actually thrives in this era of AI. So grab your notebook, grab your phone, because I'm going to be sharing with you some key prompts you can use to go through these exercises. So let's get to it. So I want to start, and I talked about this in the last episode. I talked about it a little bit more in detail. So if you didn't see it, then I encourage you to go back and take a look at it. But I want you to start with an audit of your job and what tasks could be replaced by AI. So look, grab a piece of paper and write down every single thing that you do in a typical week. Once you write down everything that you do, I then want you to categorize every task you perform into one of three buckets. One bucket are your A tasks. These require human judgment, creativity, and empathy. Bucket two are your B tasks. These can be partially automated. And then your C tasks can be fully automated. Now, once you go through this, go back and take a look. If 50% or more of your work falls into the B or C categories, it is time to take action now, like ASAP, like yesterday, like fast. Okay. So let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, you're in marketing and you're responsible for writing social media captions. Well, guess what? That's a B task. That's something that AI can assist. Developing a campaign strategy that aligns to your brand voice and emotion. Well, that's A, because that's all you. Now let's use an HR example. Let's say you're scheduling interviews. That's a C task because that's something that AI can easily do. Let's say you're coaching leaders through a conflict or you're delivering layoff news with empathy. Empathy. That's an A task because trust and believe, can't no bot do none of that. Trust me, I know. So that is not an activity or a task that AI can do. So your goal, our goal is to spend the majority of our time in the A zone and use AI to lighten the load on the things we do in the B and C categories. Now, I do have an AI vulnerability assessment that I'm putting together. If you want that assessment, is a 10-minute exercise and it goes into a deep dive for assessing the risk of your role and the tasks you do. So if you want that assessment, then comment below. I'll put you on the mailing list and we'll get that out to you by this weekend. But it'll give you a very good framework to work from, a very good assessment to determine your vulnerability. But for this quick exercise right now, we're just writing this on paper. We're putting these in different categories. Now, once you have done this, I then want you to use this prompt and put it into ChatGPT or Cloud AI, whichever one you choose, and say, hey, what are the top 3 tasks I do each week that can be automated so that I can spend more time on strategy or creativity? That's how we begin to start being AI enhanced and not AI replaced. When you're able to really start thinking outside the box and bringing these ideas to your manager on process efficiency. Trust me, they love this stuff. Okay. Step number 2, I want you to learn the AI tools in your field. Now that you know that, you've gone through the other exercise, you put in the prompt, and now that you know what things can be automated, it's now time to learn the tools that can do it. So this is the good news about AI. You don't have to be very tech savvy and you don't have to be a coder or a data scientist to be able to use these tools. You just need to know the AI tools that will make your work easier, faster, and smarter. So whether you are a recruiter, a designer, a project manager, or even a content creator, there is an AI tool that can do 30 to 50% of your work and help you manage your day a lot better than if you were doing these things manually. So it's interesting. I was meeting with a former colleague 2 weeks ago. She was working on a project for work. She's, in disability management. And they had come up with this tool, actually. Someone else had come up with the tool. But then she was responsible for rolling out creating the training and rolling it out to the stakeholders that would be using it. And she had put together the framework, whatever. I said, look, sis, let's back up. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time in doing this. So I helped her create a prompt and, put it into ChatGPT and it spit it out just like that. She was amazed. But again, just like a lot of people, they don't know how to use AI. They don't know the power of AI because they've never really played around with it. So that's some of the things I like to do. I really like to educate people on the power of AI and how they can use it. Everything from, work projects to planning a family vacation or an itinerary, or maybe have to do some estate planning. That is where AI comes into handy in our professional lives and our personal lives. But anyway, getting back to learning the AI tools to use in your field, the thing I want you to understand is that you can not only use AI for tasks, but you can also use it for strategy. So for example, in ChatGPT, you can use prompts like, hey, analyze my weekly task and suggest which ones can be automated with AI tools. And it can even tell you the AI tools that it would recommend. Another one, review this data and identify 3 strategic opportunities I might be missing. So look, the thing is, these aren't gimmicks. These are prompts that can actually shift you from a doer to strategic thinking. Now, I know a lot of companies, they value strategic thinking, and some of them have it as one of their, core values or, core competencies. So if that is an area of development for you, Chat GPT, Claude, these AI tools can absolutely help you operate on a more strategic level. So, what I want you to do for step 3 is schedule 30 minutes a week exploring a new AI tool. And I wouldn't even bother with, listen, there are hundreds of tools out there. I am discovering tools every single week. And I try to keep up with them. But what I've learned is that, hey, I have my arsenal of maybe 10 tools that I'm working with that I want to become deep expert in, deep expertise. Then I start branching out because if I'm trying to learn every single one, then, I'm not really an expert at any of them. So just pick 3 or 4 that you want to be really, really good at, the ones that will have the most impact on your job, and see how it absolutely changes your life. And you can thank me later. Okay. But make learning AI part of your professional development, particularly if you're in a company like I was in that values continuous learning. Make it part of your professional development plan. Take the training that is being offered in your company. There are a lot of large companies, they know the AI wave is here. A lot of them have made public commitments to not only train their staff, but to train society overall in AI because it is the wave of the future. So take advantage of the trainings you have in your company. There's also plenty of trainings available for free through, organizations like Udemy. IBM has a number of IBM courses, and I'll be putting together some of these resources as well and make them available. But there's so much out there. Step 3, shift your value proposition. Now, this is about how you are presenting yourself. And the biggest difference between professionals who get replaced and those who get promoted is their value proposition. So if your resume, your LinkedIn, or even how you talk about your work is more task focused, then it's time to work on your value proposition because you're in trouble. If it focuses more on the outcomes and the value you provide, then you're in good shape. So let me give you an example. Task focused is I managed a social media calendar. Outcome focused is I increased engagement by 47% through strategic content positioning. So see the difference? One focuses on what you did, the other one is focusing on why it mattered. So just keep in mind here, look, you are not your to-do list. You are your results. That is what you want to focus on. So go back, look at your resume, look at your LinkedIn bullets, look at your bio. And if it is merely listing tasks that you do, go back and revise it to show the business impact of your work. Now, if you have trouble or difficulty with this exercise, here's another prompt you can put in ChatGPT or Claude and say, look, upload your resume or copy and paste your LinkedIn profile and then say, look, how can I reframe what I do to highlight the outcomes I create? And that gives you a very good starting point to be able to reframe that narrative and improve your value proposition. Step number 4, build human-centered skills that AI can't touch. These are the skills that are going to make you irreplaceable because even as AI advances, there are certain things that AI just isn't going to be able to do. Now, I gave you the example of being in HR and being that face in front of a room full of people to let them know that their jobs are being eliminated. You have to have somebody who is able to demonstrate empathy, who is able to kind of be that calming force, right? AI is not able to do that. So you're always going to need that human element in those types of activities. But I want to share with you now what I call the 4 human anchors that if you're able to focus on these, it makes it a lot harder for AI to replace you. So the first one is authentic relationships. And this is about building genuine trust and loyalty in every interaction. You want to be that person that people enjoy working with. You want to be that person that people enjoy being on a team with. And unfortunately, a lot of us get into situations where relationships aren't authentic. They're very transactional. I'll do for you if you do for me. And they're very superficial. But the rubber hits the road when you're able to have those really authentic relationships where you're able to build that trust and loyalty. And let me let you in on something. Leaders are responsible for being role models in that space. And a lot of us, a lot of you are falling very short of this. Your employees won't tell you because they want to keep their job and they're afraid of retribution. But we are falling far short when it comes to building authentic relationships with our employees. The second thing, the second human anchor that I like to talk about, and something that AI can't replace, is emotional intelligence. This is reading people, handling conflict, leading with empathy. And even though there are some AI tools that are being trained to demonstrate empathy and that kind of stuff, it still does not replace an actual human in doing this. So, again, the better you are at emotional intelligence and having this anchor in your toolkit, the less likely it is that you or your role will be replaced by AI. Another human anchor is judgment with incomplete info. This is where you are able to make smart decisions when data alone is not enough. Now, mind you, working with AI, as we like to say, garbage in, garbage out. The output is only going to be as good as what you're putting in it. And so that's the reason why a lot of you are using AI for your resumes and for your cover letters, and you're not able to bake through the ATS system because you're sounding like everybody else and it sounds like AI. That's where you need that human input into it, the one that has that expertise, the one that has that judgment. And that's where this human anchor comes in. You're able to use bad input, bad data, garbage in, synthesize it in a way that makes sense to still be able to make decisions. AI is not able to do that. The fourth human anchor is negotiation and persuasion, influencing outcomes through human connection. We've probably all been in situations where you're trying to get buy-in for an idea and where an email won't cut it. Maybe even an hour meeting won't cut it, but it's about looking people in their pretty eyes and explaining your position in a way that's very persuasive, to the point where they say, well, you know what? Now I understand what you're saying. I give you the green light. AI is not able to do that. So if you're able to do that in your role, then you're absolutely able to demonstrate your value and your impact. So if your career is built around these four human anchors, then AI becomes your assistant and not your competition. And the people who are going to be able to win in this new world are the ones that are going to be able to combine technical efficiency with emotional intelligence. We can't operate today without emotional intelligence. So ask yourself, how do you bring more humanity to your work? How? I was talking to a former colleague that reached out to me. I was so glad to hear from her. And we were talking about how the workplace has changed, especially in the space of HR, where there's a push for more HR self-service, where people are able to communicate with a bot to get certain things done. Now, mind you, I agree. I would tell people all the time, my name is not Alexa. You're not going to just call me up and ask me what is our PTO policy when we have a whole freaking handbook online that you can read for yourself. So I do agree that AI is very valuable when it comes to those very rote, low level tasks that could easily be done, right? You don't need a director level person answering benefit questions or PTO questions. So in that manner, in that regard, it was great. But then I think it gets to be scope creep, where then we didn't want to defer almost everything that we do to a bot or an avatar or some kind of AI tool, when at the end of the day, there's some things that human intervention, human communication, looking people in their eyes, AI cannot do. So ask yourself, how are you bringing humanity to your work? Because you wouldn't agree that we need some just plain good humanity in the world, period, today? We can all play a part in that, right? AI is not going to be able to save us from that, unfortunately. So instead of thinking, well, I need to learn more AI tools, think I need to learn how to lead better with different tools, whatever they are, whether it's training on emotional intelligence or having more authentic relationships in the workplace. It doesn't necessarily have to be an AI tool, right? Sometimes it's just training and knowledge that helps us be better leaders and better people. So, step 5, make your AI usage visible. Now, I will say, when I first started using AI about like 2 years ago, there still seemed to be some kind of stigma around, hey, I wrote this, project plan using AI, or I did the analysis using AI, whatever, but that's no longer the case. And now that I look back on it, and I'm comfortable in saying this, I think I was using AI in a way that a lot of my colleagues was not using it and had not thought about it. And I was ahead of the curve. And so I think now it really demonstrates how you are, efficient, thinking outside the box, continuous improvement, all of that. So don't hide your AI usage. Own it, show it, because you won't be replaced by AI, but you're actually multiplying efficiency, which every company appreciates. So when you're able to say, hey, I built this report using AI to speed up analysis by 40%, you're showing leadership, innovation, and adaptability, which all companies value and appreciate in this day and time when things are moving at such rapid speed. You'll be one of the few people in the room that knows how to make tech work for people, and not the one that's afraid that it's going to take their job. So say it with me. I'm not replaceable. I'm actually an efficiency multiplier. So look, let's get into a weekly action plan, because again, talk with no action doesn't get anybody anywhere. So here's what I want you to do this week to start becoming AI enhanced. One, we talked about auditing your job, listing all of your tasks and duties and putting them in the categories A, B, or C. Also, request my AI vulnerability assessment. Comment below, DM me on my social media, and I'll be more than happy to send it to you. Secondly, learn one tool. Spend 30 minutes. I don't care if it's ChatGPT, there's Gemini, there's Copilot, there's Claude. Those I think are the most popular basic ones that kind of do a little bit of everything. Now, each of them are better at certain things than others, and I'll talk about that in another episode. But those are some that you can easily start working with. And I know a lot of companies are using an AI tool. So, for example, we were rolling out Copilot in my last company, and that is what we were encouraged to use. But find out what is being used in your company, and also find out, it reminds me, go ahead and look into any privacy concerns, because if you don't have your settings set correctly, everything that you're putting in these AI tools can be found on the internet. And I'll talk about that as well in terms of the settings you need to have to make sure that your information is kept secure. But if you're using it for work, talk to your HR department, talk to your manager about what, are there any compliance restrictions or policies or things you need to be aware of when using these AI tools. Third thing I want you to do for your weekly action plan is to automate one recurring task and use it to free time up to focus on more high value things. And again, don't keep it to yourself. Openly discuss it with your team, openly discuss it with your manager, because again, everyone appreciates someone who is always looking to work better and faster and smarter. Fourth, use your saved time for strategy. Don't just use it to get caught up on All My Children episodes or Dateline. Use that extra time to operate on a higher level, to think and plan and create. And then fifth, focus on outcomes. Reframe your value in terms of the results, not just the tasks that you do and execute on. So there you have it, a quick plan to be AI enhanced and not AI replaced. Because at the end of the day, we're going to continue to see these layoffs take place in these companies. And again, I talk about how it's going to be a trickle down effect. It started with the tech companies, but it's absolutely going to start impacting other industries and other size organizations over the next 36 months. So we don't want to get caught unprepared, because the winners in this AI era aren't avoiding it. They're actually using it so well that they're becoming irreplaceable. Figure out a way to put AI on your resume, how you're using it on your job. That's what employers are looking for these days. So, if you want help in figuring out which AI tools to use specifically for your role, then you can also request my AI career survival guide. I'll put this guide together and I've packed it with custom prompts, top tools by professions, and examples to help you understand how these tools are being used and how you can use it to stand out in this new world of work. So if you're interested in this guide, comment below survival and we'll get that to you um, later on this week. And as always, follow me on my social media, TikTok, Instagram, now on LinkedIn, where I'm giving tips and information all throughout the week. DM me for any questions or if there's any topics you want to hear. If you are not subscribing to this channel, subscribe, like, share. We're growing and I'm so pleased. I'm so excited. It's definitely allowing me and giving me, you know, the interest and enthusiasm and motivation to do even more and to help even more people. So I have a lot of things in store. So I appreciate everyone's support in reaching out, following, sharing, and liking. It makes a big difference. So the next time on our next episode, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about the 5 specific AI tools that if you're in the job market, in between jobs, you're looking to be promoted, you're looking to change jobs, you absolutely need to have these AI tools in your back pocket. That is what we're going to talk about the next time so that we can use these tools to play to win and continue to be AI enhanced and not replaced. So remember, you're not your job title, you are your value. So keep leading, keep learning, and keep playing to win. And until then, I'll see you on the next episode of Exit to Excel. Take care.